Don't say that.
What?
That.
What?
That. The Z word. Don't say it.
Zombie.
Zombies.
Zombies. Ghouls. The undead.
Zombies are the undisputed master of pop culture nowadays. They are everywhere. Besides, zombie onslaught can stand in for almost anything, from nuclear holocaust, class warfare, rampant consumerism to hedonism, terrorism, disease, and environmental catastrophe. The age of omnipresent zombies began with George Romero's 1968 cult classic. Romero and his writer John Russo designed most of the characteristics of these dumb-shumbling human flesh-eaters, setting off a horror subgenre that invites creativity and constant reinvention. Romero's zombies were the masses that created new social order. But this was no revolution, just a thoughtless horde only unified by their basest of drives. The zombie myth, however, was much older and more deeply rooted both historically and geographically. Long before pop culture widely appropriated the zombie myth, the living dead weren't the infected, but rather the enslaved. Our appetite for all things zombie actually has dark origins. Unlike vampires, werewolves, and ghosts, zombies had no literary forerunner. The lineage of the word zombie is traced back to the Central and Western Africa. Though there is no clarity yet on who introduced the African word into English, the earlier zombie archetype remains solely a monster of the Americas, having originated in the small island nation of Haiti. The Haitian spiritual belief system was shaped by the West Africans, who were shackled and forcefully transported to that island as slaves by their French colonizers in the 17th century. When Haiti gained independence through rebellion in 1804, the zombie myth evolved within the Haiti Voodoo religion, taking into account the post-colonial anxiety and the trauma of slavery. Haitians believed that zombies were dead bodies resurrected by sorcerers known as boko. Such soulless beings are said to be used as free labor since they neither need rest nor food. Therefore, zombification came to represent the legacy and horrors of the slavery era. Imperialists' selective myopia, however, perceived voodoo as an indicator of the country's primitiveness, a disease the Americans later set out to cure during its two-decade occupation of Haiti. During this occupation, American travel writer William C. Brooke popularized the word zombie. In his 1929 book, The Magic Island, he penned exotic tales about Haiti and voodoo, propagating racist beliefs for an American reader. Seabrook's depiction of voodoo zombies conveniently overlooked the social and historical context. Very soon, the Undead strolled to Hollywood in this 1932 movie inspired by Magic Island. Needless to say, the savagery of slavery is watered down for a more palatable horror, one that's focused more on the great Bela Lugosi's bushy brows and ridiculous goatee.
Haiti is full of nonsense and superstition. They're always mixed up with a lot of mysteries that'll turn your hair gray.
Haiti in White Zombie is pictured as a primitive land of voodooism and black magic. It did what Hollywood always does best: adulterate and commodify a culture's belief system. Though the film emphasizes the master-slave dynamic of Voodoo Zombies, it playfully imitates the same for a plain surface-level horror. It's also casually racist, and what's believed to be real horror in films like this is the possible violation of the white heroine.
Well, surely you don't think she's alive in the hands of natives? Oh, no, better dead than that.
White Zombies' moderate success pushed studios to capitalize on the Voodoo Zombies, ushering a new cycle of B-horror films well into the atomic age of 1950s and 1960s. In the later decade, zombie flicks' fear over voodoo clashed with fear over atomic warfare and Red Scare paranoia. However, the most memorable and creepy voodoo zombie film after White Zombie is Val Lewton's I Walked with a Zombie. The portrayal of post-colonial Caribbean society was far less stereotypical in it. Furthermore, the realism with which the voodoo practices were depicted gave it a feel of an ethnographic study. Of course, it eventually strokes the fears of a white male American audience while slyly codifying the natives as the intimidating other. Perhaps the pre-Romero zombies reflected not only Hollywood's fear of voodooism, but also held a mirror to the industry's disdain for blackness. The Haitian zombie exemplified the real-life horrors of slavery and dehumanization. The American counterpart, on the other hand, reflected the Westerners' fear of being subjugated, dominated, and symbolically colonized by pagan spiritual beliefs. Zombies finally broke its ties to folklore by the late 1960s. In The Night of the Living Dead, Romero borrowed from sci-fi invasion narratives. At the same time, the filmmaker was utilizing genre fiction in order to react to the socio-political problems and cultural environment of the 1960s. First of all, Romero's zombies weren't the puppets of diabolical masters. And though freed from a racialized discourse, the undead's existence still represented a form of enslavement. They are enslaved by an insatiable hunger which reduces humans into mere meat for sustenance. What's more, the loss of autonomy and subjectivity is irreversible. Hence, the only thing to do is destroy what's left. It's fascinating how, by highlighting the logistical problems of the zombie infection and by turning it into a monster of the majority, zombies became a flexible metaphor. In fact, when Romero himself triumphantly returned a decade later with the sequel, The Walking Dead were resurrected as a ghostly remnant of the America's commodity culture and mindless consumerism.
What the hell is it?
Looks like a shopping center, one of those big indoor malls.
What are they doing? Why did they come here?
Some kind of instinct, memory of what they used to do. This was an important place in their lives.
Since then, zombies have evolved to represent fresh social anxieties and cultural issues. On the other hand, 21st century zombies have gradually mutated into a vehicle for escapism. The visceral joys of such zombie apocalypse fantasies often exist beyond the reach of allegorical shadows. From being an ultimate symbol of enslavement to becoming part of the consumerist culture, zombie narratives are branching out and moving forward. Is it starting to feel a little worn out? Perhaps, but for now, the rage-filled Blitz of the Undead shows no signs of dying.
Can you comment on the fact that we still seem to be undergoing some kind of zombie renaissance in pop culture?
I don't get it.
I honestly don't. First of all...